Uh-oh, look out for that Detroit, Southeast Michigan housing market. The bubble is about to get bigger.
Nice.
What? I thought you were going to say it's going to burst. Look, we're not bursting any bubbles here. Maybe unless you were hoping that I would say the bubble's going to burst.
Not today.
Yeah, that's right. The bubble's not bursting. The prices aren't declining. That's not what we're talking about in this video. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The bubble is actually, or should I say, the real estate market is actually still going up. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video, is we're going to show you why that's going up and what you should do about it. So if that's what you're looking for, make sure you hang out till the end where I give you my thoughts on what you should do in this real estate market. Now, I'm not simply just going to say, well, the number one reason prices are going up is because of supply and demand. There's just not enough houses. There's not enough inventory. Yes, that's the easy way. And that is the reason why prices keep going up, is the lack of inventory. But what I want to do is kind of dive a little deeper so you can understand, why that inventory is a little bit short. And to do that, what I want to do is I want to take a look at the housing starts for the state of Michigan. So you have an idea of what our new construction looked like from history dating back to 1988 and coming forward in today. So that'll help you get a better picture of the real estate market and how the new housing can affect that market as a whole. So here we are, the new private housing units authorized by building permits for Michigan. That being short, so here we are dating back to 1988, and we're sitting here, we're averaging right around, maybe averaging around 4,000, where in the summer it's a peak of upwards of 6,000, and at the low end it's over on 2,000. That's kind of beginning of each year, right around December, right around the winter time. Obviously there's just not a lot of building permits at that point, so they're starting to build each time. So back from 1988 up to about 2005, we have this average of about 4,000 houses that are building permits for the state of Michigan. And if you look here, obviously we all know we had a housing crash. This is dating back from, right here in this area, we had the major crash. And this is where it dropped from thousands of building permits, where we dropped down into the hundreds of building permits. I mean, we're talking here at the very bottom, 271, 274 houses back in January, February of 2009. Now, if you're thinking of that in the big picture of the real estate market in the state of Michigan, it is really hard to find a new home built in that kind of 2008 down to up to 2010, that kind of market period. I mean, as you see here, you see the permits are down less than 1,000 for several years. I mean, the average is still into 2014. Our average is still less than 1,000 starts. And here, as we go in the last 8 years, we're still averaging only maybe 1,500 housing starts per year. Even here since 2020, that housing starts has started to go down. That's really having a major effect on our housing market with these low new private housing units. And just for fun, what I wanted to do is kind of give you a comparison. When we're talking about Detroit, Southeast Michigan, and really just Michigan as a whole, because this is building permits for Michigan, it's hard to really fine tune it down to a specific area. But what I wanted to do was kind of use, a lot of people are moving over to Texas or moving to North Carolina or moving to Arizona, Florida, those kind of states, right? So what I wanted to do is kind of give you a comparison of how those housing permits are done. So here we're looking at new housing units authorized for Florida. This is the state of Florida. Obviously our averages are way higher. We're looking here, we're averaging right around that 12,000 mark. We had where we jumped way up from 2002 to 2005. We all know that they were building tons and tons and tons of houses. They were really hit hard by that crash, but up here they were really peaking up here, and then they crashed down here. They were still in that 4,000 mark, which is tremendous, but they really started to come back. Here if you look at an average, taking out this 2002 to 2008, their average from 88 over to 2002 was really right around that maybe 12,000 homes. So they were really getting close to that average here, but even now they're starting to go build more houses, so their average is starting to go up a little bit. So their housing is doing all right. I think a little bit with Florida, they're having some struggles with the HOAs and stuff, so people might be getting a little bit scared off here as we get into this tail end of this curve here. But let's go into the new private housing for building permits for Texas. So here we are, we're just continuously climbing. Texas, if you look here real quick, look, they're above the peak of 2006. they're well above there. I mean, here back in 2022, they were building so many homes, and now they've just kind of toned that down a little bit to really try to get back to this average. And we'll go one more state into North Carolina. Here's another one that they've gone, kind of match that average here. So a lot of housing, it comes down to inventory. You need to have that inventory to keep those prices down. Obviously, inventory helps the prices. And new housing isn't the only part of it. The other part of it is the resale homes, is the homes that they're selling. Obviously, the downsizers, the upsizers, people that are selling their homes to move into different homes or move into different areas. We're just really not seeing a lot of those homes being sold either, so that's really causing a pinch in the real estate market here in Michigan. Now we're jumping into the second reason why the housing prices just keep going up, and we're not bursting a bubble anytime soon, and that's because of the low mortgage rates. A lot of people are not now nor low mortgage rates, but because of the historical low mortgage rates. We're dating back to 2020, around that time, 2019 up to 2023, 2020, backing up the last several years when it was bouncing around that 2 or 3%. That's what we like to call the lock-in effect. People are locked into these low rates, and they don't see a reason to move because they're locked into these rates. And what I want to show you here is just a quick graph to kind of give you an idea of the historical mortgage rates. So here you look here, this is dating back from 1971 to 2024. I mean, obviously looking here, we got some super high rates, but what we're going to do is we're going to come down into here. I mean, if you're looking more normal history, back from the 2000s, we're really kind of getting close to that kind of average mark. We're trying to get around that 5% mark is kind of the goal here. But shoot, we've been below 5% for many years. I mean, we're dating back to really back to 2010 where we've been below 5%, below a 5% average, and I think that's kind of what a lot of home buyers and home sellers are waiting for, is really that kind of 5.5%, 6%, really to just get to that average. So if we come back 2020 where these rates were really just jumping, dropping down. I mean, a lot of you are locked into sub 3. I'd like to know where are your rates today. I'm really curious where those are, and what number are you waiting for? Drop that down in the comments below. I'd like to know what rates are you waiting for to get back into that housing market, maybe sell your home and buy a new one. Hey, I just wanted to pause this video real quick. Again, this is Travis Juntti with the Living in Detroit, Southeast Michigan team. If you would hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the little notification bell to make sure you get notified anytime we put out new content, I would absolutely love it. And look, if you're making a move to this area, all my contact information is down below. Make sure you call, text, email, whatever is best for you. I've got your back when it comes here to moving to Detroit, Michigan and Southeast Michigan. Without further ado, let's get right back into that content. So anyways, you look here, and a lot of these people, they felt locked into that lower rate, and now we're sitting around that 6.5, 7, and we were peaking 7.5 back in October of 2023. So these rates are, a lot of people are questioning, what are these rates going to do? Are they going to come down? Are they going to stay stable? For the most part, since when they really started to go up at middle of July, they really started to climb. That's really kind of when the market really started to take a little decline, when the rates just really started to go up. Here from the end of December, really early 2022, they really started to go up, and people were started to jump out of the market because they didn't know where the rates were going to go. So people were really kind of holding off. And then as we hit kind of that 2022 into early 2023, people started to realize, okay, maybe these rates are starting to stay a little bit. Maybe they're starting to stay more constant. We had this little drop here, and right now, I mean, our rates are kind of somewhat consistent. Right around this kind of 6.5%. And really, people are really hoping to get down to that below 6%. So I mean, I hope that gives you an idea of how the market looks. Why we're not looking to burst a bubble anytime soon. Because the big thing to burst a bubble is you really need a lot of inventory, and I don't know where that inventory is coming from. We really need to keep up. We really need to catch up with that, with the new housing construction. We don't have people moving out of houses because they're locked into their low rates. At what rate is it that people will start moving? I don't really know. Like I said, put a comment down below. I'd be curious what that number is. So the biggest thing now is that people are questioning, well, what do I do now? What do I do? It's 2024. What do I do? Do I buy a house? Do I wait? It's funny because you hear a lot of stuff on the media. You hear a lot of stuff on YouTube. People making videos. The bubble's gonna burst. Don't buy now. Don't do this. A lot of that. Just make sure a lot of that comes from just that negative talk. Negative negative talk, negative headlines. I mean, all the news channels, they've been doing it for years. That's what brings the views. That's what brings people to their channel. That's what brings people there. But we're here to give you the education that you need, give you the advice that you need. I can't remember the amount of people that were talking about in 2020. A lot of people were saying, oh, well, I'm going to wait till the election. The election year is going to change everything. 2020, we don't know what's going to happen. Who's going to get elected in the office? Well, you know what? The election doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the housing market. It doesn't really matter. A lot of people were waiting for after the election. You know what? January 2021, what happened to those housing prices? You're right. They started to skyrocket. How many of you wish that you got into the market in 2020, in 2021, in 2022? The housing prices will continue to go up. All I can say is do not wait to buy. The time to buy is right now. If you're waiting for those interest rates to go down, studies say, experts say, I don't know, whatever you might look up online. I mean, if the rates drop by 1%, how many more buyers will enter that market? Do you think that the housing prices will become more competitive? Absolutely, they will become more competitive, because the more people on the market, the more people looking to buy that one house. You're going to have a lot more, multiple offer situations. You're going to be waiving your inspections. You're going to be waiving appraisals. You'll be giving a lot more money to those sellers to get them to sell their house to you. Now you're spending more money to try to get into that house where you thought logically that, hey, I'm going to wait till the market drops and then I'm going to buy a house and then I'm going to just have a lower mortgage payment. That may not be true. The old saying goes, buy a house now. Don't time the market. It's time in the market. So if you can afford to buy a house today, you'll reach out to the #1 relocation team in the Detroit, Southeast Michigan area. Again, this is Travis Juntti with the Living in Detroit, Southeast Michigan team. All my information is down below. I'm here to help you. And look, I know I'm a real estate agent. I probably see down in the comments below, well, another real estate agent is telling me to buy a house. Look, I don't care what you do. I'm here to support you. I'm here to be your advisor and give you that help. I just want you to do what's best for you. Now, don't go stretch yourself. Do what's right. I've got lots of reputable lenders that I work with that I can have you talk with to find a number that makes sense for you. But all I could say is I got people that have been looking for years and years, and they really wish that they would have bought a house many years ago. We can't be timing the market. And another thing you might want to consider, we do some new construction tours. That's one thing that if you're considering buying a house and you don't want that competition, yes, right now, even today in 2024, we have a lot of competition. But you know what doesn't see a lot of competition still is the new home construction. We're not seeing a lot of competition there. And they also, a lot of times, they're offering different benefits to get you into those homes, whether it be lower rate or different concessions to help you buy that home. That might be a thing to consider. Yeah, a lot of times you have to put your own grass down, put your own seed down, or whatever it might be. But a lot of times you can move into that new home and you're not competing against those other folks. And I know new homes aren't for everyone. I know I work with a lot of families that are looking to spread out, build on some land. So there's not a lot of new homes that are built on land. You know what? Because it's just they're looking to build mass and they're looking to build a whole lot of houses. So a lot of times that isn't just the best fit. But again, this is Travis Juntti with the Living in Detroit, Southeast Michigan team. I appreciate you hanging in till the end. And until next time, we'll see you on the Living in Detroit, Southeast Michigan team.